Thank you very much, everybody, to join. Let me present this topic for today. Today, we are going to talk about how to get your junk removal business to a $1 million a year business. So we will talk about how much money your junk removal business can really make. What is the most, I would say, what you know the most in regards to growing your business. Which mistakes you should avoid that you're probably doing today, and of course getting the expert advice in the junk removal industry. So we have today with us three panelists. Let me go ahead to move to the next one. So my name is Dekel Ezri. I'm the head of customer success here at Workiz. We have Richard, that he is a senior account manager at Workiz. And we have Lee Goldbard, that he is the founder of JRA, Junk Removal Authority. So I will let you, Lee, introduce yourself and take it from here.
Awesome. Yeah, I appreciate everybody for watching this evening, and Workiz for us partnering together and allowing us to do this. So I hope it's great information for everybody. One of the things when you do these webinars, you're not really certain where exactly everybody stands. So hopefully, if you guys are new, this is really good information for you, and those of you guys that have been in business a little bit longer, hopefully you at least find one or two good things out of it. I'm pretty sure you will. So I started a junk removal company called Junk Doctors in North Carolina. We started out with a pickup truck and trailer. It was a 6x12 trailer. Had 3 foot. Well, the first one we had like 6-inch sides, but the main one we used to start with had 3 foot sides. We built it up. I got a dump truck, and now we've got 11 trucks. We keep about 8 of them busy. Bobcat, we do a little bit of demolition work with, so on and so forth. And then instead of franchising, which what a lot of junk removal companies do once they reach, $1 million, $2 million, or even earlier than that, is they, a lot of companies franchise. Instead, we started Junk Removal Authority. So we provide marketing services, consulting, sell business packages. We've got a call center people can use. We basically use all the same services that the franchises provide, but you just choose what you want to use, and you only pay for what you use, rather than having to continuously pay that over time. So I guess we work with about 70 companies or so now, and I guess we're going to go over what you need to do to get to that $1 million a year sales.
So Lee, just let me know when you want me to skip to the next slide.
Okay.
And I will just do it. So you want to start with required understanding?
Yes.
Okay.
So, and this is something that a lot of people kind of struggle with, and it's something I didn't necessarily know when I first started the business. I kind of just figured it out, my desire to grow. I kept just putting money back into it. And the only way you're going to grow this business to be of any size, get the $1 million mark or whatever, is you have to really treat it like an investment. So most of us were used to working a job where we got paid X amount of dollars, and you're not going to have that in business. All of a sudden you see all this income, but every time you turn around, you need a new truck, you need to hire a new person, you got to get this workers' compensation insurance. Once you get above, maybe when you first start, generally is what we recommend, but you get above 2 employees, depending on what state you're in, you have workers' comp. You get all these expenses every time you turn around. You need to be willing to make those, to purchase those pieces in order to grow. And unless you have significant savings or income outside of your business, you're going to have to live as cheaply as possible so you can reinvest back into it as much as possible. And by putting off, it's amazing. If you put off profits just for a year or two, then all of a sudden by like year 3, it's possible to reach $1 million in sales by year 3. We can't guarantee it, obviously, but it's possible. And at that point, you're looking at close to a $200,000-ish income. Now, a lot of that does go back into your company, but you've got a good income, good business going on at that point. And you have like a sellable asset as well.
That's nice.
So the very first thing you can do right from the start, if you guys are brand new or if you've been in business and you want to get to that next level, is the first thing you got to do, you got to dress the part. So clean and professional website that's built to convert. You can look at our Junk Doctor site. You can look at Got Junks, and there's Junk Luggers has a good site. There's several companies out there that have great sites. They do things in a certain order for a reason. It's because they've tested and they've determined what's going to lead to the most bookings. As you'll notice, a lot of junk removal companies are no longer showing pricing. there's, we show pricing, but the data, we're starting to back that out because the data shows you're actually getting more calls and conversions without showing it. So proper phone etiquette, knowing always answering the call, extremely important. You got to be able to do that. You have to understand how to take that call. You need clean and well-maintained trucks. If your trucks are always breaking down, if they're not clean, if they're always breaking down, you're never going to be able to get to the job site. And if they're not clean, listen, that's the one thing. Uniforms and clean trucks are the only visual thing that your customers have about your company. So if those two things are shoddy and not a good representative of your company, it's going to affect your reputation. And the education and industry knowledge, whether it's paying or working with a company like us at JRA, or it's just looking at a YouTube channel, which is free, or if it's just general business stuff, you do want to get that good, that business knowledge to really grow, for sure. If you do those 5 things, that's something you do almost immediately with no money at all, or very little money at all. The truck's going to cost money, the uniforms cost money, but just a few $1,000s, you can have all this stuff up and going, and you're going to be on your way. You're going to be dressing the part, faking it till you make it of that $1 million.
Also, go back to what you said before, that they're putting back the money that they made back into the business, so they can always use this money to get a better trucks, to get to upgrade their website and all of those things around.
Yeah, people. I mean, people and trucks. People, trucks, and processes are the 3 things you have to grow this thing, and all of them are going to require money.
Right. Okay. Very nice.
Okay, advertising. You can have the greatest service out there at the cheapest price, but if you cannot advertise, if people can't find out about your company, you're never going to grow it. So, Junk Doctors, we spend close to $200,000 a year in North Carolina on Google Ads. So we spend a ton of money on Google Ads, but it's the only way that it was not the only way. It was the initial way that we got most of our customers. And then those people came back, they used us again, they referred us, they left online reviews. We've got SEO, an active SEO campaign that shows well now. We do Yelp. Home Advisor sucks, guys. For the most part, everybody hates Home Advisor, but Home Advisor does have work. So the key on Home Advisor is calling it back very quickly. And then Craigslist, Facebook ads, paid and unpaid, and yard signs. On the yard signs end of things, your municipality is going to oftentimes tell you can't put them out. They never actually do anything. Sorry about that, guys. So those are kind of 7 of the things that really work well with advertising.
Gotcha. Now, as somebody that's just starting up, I mean, what would you recommend as a realistic budget to put aside for advertising? And, where should you really, spread that money around? What's going to be the most bang for your buck?
Yeah, so this is almost not quite in order, because the SEO thing is going to cost a little bit more money up front if you do an ongoing SEO campaign. But actually, this is almost correct, because it's got Google Ads. The first thing I'll do is get a great website. So we need to reverse those first 2. So you get that great website that's going to convert, that looks professional, that's got your phone number where it really sticks out. And then people, then you run your Google Ads to the site, and then people can call and convert. The search engine optimization attached to the websites there is you do need a site that's set up for all of your basic SEO. And if you get all the basic SEO set up, then just a site being out there on Google for a period of time will begin to rank at least decently well.
Okay.
So, and then once it ranks decently well, then you can do more of an active, ongoing SEO campaign. On the Yelp end of things, if you're in like California, Yelp's huge in California. North Carolina, it's not as big. There's plenty of work to be had without paying Yelp. But, if you start paying Yelp, then generally you're going to show a bit better. And then I do Home Advisor right from the start too. Because Home Advisor, they're right off the bat, there's work to be had. They're not really checking you out that close. Home Advisor makes up the stuff that they're actually going to look into you, but they run a background check, but that's about it. So, you get the lead in. If you know how to call that person and sell, you got a job right there. And then Craigslist is free. So all of these, I would do every single one of these, spend the majority of your budget, of your paid budget, on the Google Ads. And once you set up a good website on Google Ads and Home Advisor, and then kind of if you're showing 100% of the time on Google Ads because you're able to spend enough money, then you can start spending more money on your Facebook paid ads and, so on and so forth.
Okay,
nice.
Gotcha.
I saw a lot of trucks today, and I see it recently too many times. They will park their truck with a sign of junk removal and big phone number on a very busy intersection in your city and everything. So it's also like a lot of people doing this these days. So
It's like a giant mobile billboard, right?
Yeah, I didn't list that, but I mean, we get thousands of dollars every month from just having graphics on your truck. So make the name of your company very large and your phone number huge. Put your website on there. A lot of people go crazy with these wraps. Don't go too crazy on your vehicle wraps, guys. Just kind of regular vinyl graphics, big phone number, big company name, big website. That's all you need. That's what people want to see to contact you.
Sure.
Agree.
Okay, so their online reviews, people don't buy, like, 20 years ago, your real world, reputation was what really mattered. Now it's what's your reputation on Google, on Yelp. That's kind of what counts. So this is just a company I listed, bestlocalreviews.com. And that you can use any company you want, though. What this is a review platform that will help solicit reviews for Google My Business, Yelp, and Facebook. So here's one key thing, and this is something that probably a lot of people don't know. There's been studies that have shown if you ask the customer while you're on site if they'd be willing to review your service at the very end of the job, and you actually send in the review request while you're standing in front of that customer, then it's up to an 80% increase in the amount of reviews you receive. So, Deckel, if you and I did a job, this would be a great feature for Workiz to have.
Definitely.
Deckel, if you and I did a job, and let's say I was the junk removal company and you were our customer, at the very end of the job, I'd say, Deckel, really appreciate your business today. Would I be able to ask you, or would you be willing to leave a review online on how we did today? And if you said yes, then at that point I'd say, okay, so here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to send you a text message or an email to you right now. And as soon as you get a chance, whenever you get a moment, if you'll just let us know how we did. And I really look forward to reading what you have to say. So that last little line, that's a little quick one right there, that I really look forward to reading what you have to say. All of a sudden, this person, they've been thanked for something, so they feel more obligated to actually follow through. So we weren't the ones that did that study, and it was actually the Best Local Reviews guy. He's actually the one that put that on, that did the study and said you get up to 80% more reviews, but we've seen that to be the case.
Yeah, it's funny that you mentioned that. I mean, when you use field service management apps like Workiz or other systems out there, I know that we have the ability that you can set up a sub status where you could say done, pending review, and you can set up a special message that'll have a link that'll, send them to your Yelp site or any review site to make it easier for your customers to do business with you. Now, maybe if you didn't do a good job and you didn't want to send those review out, you could just say done, no review, and it'll just give them, give them a thank you message on there. So you're sending your reviews to the people that you want to give reviews for your company, and not send it to the people that maybe you could have done a better job on.
Well, I think you hit something very important right there too, which was the first thing you have to do to get great reviews is do really, really good service.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't start asking for reviews until you're really doing a great job.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay, this is the one thing that so many people struggle with, and that's actually charging enough for your junk removal service. So I'll go back. When I first started with Junk Doctors, literally my business strategy was, I can't believe 1-800-GOT-JUNK is charging. I think at the time it was like $400 for a truckload. It was like, that's crazy. I can't believe they're charging $400. I'm going to come in there with a pickup truck and trailer and charge. So that was my business strategy. And on Craigslist and all, I stayed busy, and I was making money, but it wasn't enough to actually have money, really a lot of money left over to invest back in the company and grow it. And I wasn't able to do Google Ads. I wasn't able to do Home Advisor, not really. I was a little too cheap for that. So what people need to actually realize is is what you're doing when you're charging higher prices is you're actually gaining extra funds to be able to take that back and put it back into the advertising market to get more customers. So it's like a Ferris wheel. I mean, it's the lifeblood of the business is your advertising dollars, really. And if you're on razor thin margins, if you're just looking at, all right, this is what I'm going to spend in fuel, this is what I'm going to spend on disposal fees, on labor, so on and so forth, what your direct expenses are, and you're not counting the advertising expense, you're never going to be able to grow. So this right here is probably one of the most important slides I've got. And I believe I covered this later on. I would mention it at this point though. 1-800-GOT-JUNK, their average job is over $400 nationwide. Our Junk Doctors, which is our company, is about $350. and the average independent hauler throughout the country is 280. So you have a $70 difference between us and the average independent hauler, and you have a $120 difference between Got Junk and the average hauler. And that's just pretty much profit. I mean, Got Junk's got their franchise fees or whatever, but everything else other than that is for the most part just profit.
Right. Would you say that that's a common pitfall for people that are starting their business, is that they're not putting enough aside in each one of those different categories, and they just kind of, miss budget what they're doing on their day-to-days, and then they go out of business?
Yeah, well, what generally happens is people start out doing the cheap thing. So a lot of what it comes down to is, like, when I first got into junk removal, there's no way I'm going to pay somebody $400 to remove junk. Mm-hmm. You got to remember, I was making like $20,000 a year before I started my junk removal business. So, that was like a week's worth of work. So and a lot of people are in the same boat a lot of the independent guys are in the same boat when they first start this job, and they feel like they don't want to, maybe they won't take advantage of people. They want to cut them a break. The thing to remember is junk removal is very much a convenience service. So the people that are hiring you, they could go out and do this thing on their own. They could get a pickup truck, they could get some friends, they could rent a truck, whatever, and they could do it at a fraction of the cost. 95% of the people that are going to hire you are going to have extra disposable income. And the reason they're hiring you is because they'd rather be out playing golf on a Saturday, or going to their kid's baseball game, or just they don't want to risk hurt, or they just don't have the time. They need to work. So you've got to charge enough so you can grow that company. And to finish off your question, what normally happens is people, they're too afraid to raise their prices. Now, if they're relying on Craigslist and company and advertising mediums like that, where you tend to get a lot of price shoppers, Facebook Marketplace would be another one. They can't raise their prices to the same clientele. They need to get new clientele that isn't as price sensitive. If they just raise their prices, they're going to prove themselves correct and drive themselves out. So that's that average job. And we're going to cover this in a bit, but the average job is the most important number. No. One of the two most important numbers in junk removal.
Okay.
But this right here, we'll cover this pretty quickly, but you got to systematize, once you figure out how to run your business. If you're going to teach a bunch of other employees how to do it, you need operations manuals, you need checklists, you need just best practices. All that needs to be documented, and you have a training program in place to actually get those guys trained, because you want those employees to be an extension of yourself. You want them to go off and do just about as good of a job as you can. Yeah. So if you guys want, we've never sold these operation manuals separate from the business package, but for everybody that's on here, we've got complete operations manuals for $14.97. They just need to call tomorrow if they're interested, because I can tell you right now, at $14.97, we spent months and months and months and thousands upon dollars putting that together. It's amazing how much it takes to document that stuff.
I bet.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, so trucks, and this is a common question that we always get, is how much money can one truck make? And by truck, I mean a dump truck. You could also potentially get by a dump trailer, could potentially make this much money as well. But we generally say if your pricing is where it needs to be, if you're at least like a $300 job average, hopefully closer to $350, but if you're at least a $300 job average, one dump truck can bring in about $300,000 a year if it's reliable and it's not down all the time. So, and then some areas are going to be higher. Your San Francisco's, your New York City's, stuff like that, where you get $800-900 full load, but your disposal fees are $200 a ton. Whereas like in North Carolina, it's $42 a ton. But they get twice the amount. So anyway, some areas that's going to be higher, because like a San Francisco or New York City, average job might be like $550. So you kind of see the difference there. Right. And if you get that reliable vehicle, if there's one of the things that held me back is, for the first about 4 years we were in business, I never took out a loan, didn't have a credit card or anything. I was very much a Dave Ramsey subscriber, which I agree with about 85% of what Dave says. But once you've chosen a business and you've seen some demand in that company, go out there. Don't go crazy borrowing just like $100,000 unless you know exactly what you're going to put it to. But don't hesitate to finance a truck. Get a good, reliable truck and buy them about every new 18 to 20K in revenue. So if you have one truck and you hit $18,000 in a month, and that next month starts out and you're on pace to hit 18 or 20 that second month, and you go ahead and place an order for another vehicle. And you keep doing that every 20K or so. You keep doing that for the first 3 or 4 trucks. And then it becomes about every 30K, you're going to start adding another one. If you can stay in front of this truck deal, you're going to be able to scale up much quicker, and you're going to have a heck of a lot less headaches. The most headaches we've ever had are people and trucks. And unfortunately, you need both of them to hit that.
All right.
All right.
All right.
Oh, we'll skip one.
Yeah.
Well, I think I just covered it. Adding people is critical. You're not going to do this on your own. So systematizing, like I talked about, is huge. The other thing is you mistakes are going to happen sometimes. You need to deal with them when they occur. The first thing is to fix it, make sure the customer's happy, and then to determine what the team member did wrong and correct it. And then one thing you've got to accept is the fact that these mistakes are going to happen. You can't worry yourself to death. A lot of business owners, when they hire employees, they want to micromanage because they're so worried they're going to mess up. Don't do that. I did it. It held us back. And once I quit doing it, that's when we really accelerated.
Well, they said that the hardest thing to find nowadays is good help. So what are some of the things that you did to really, find the right people? I mean, did you use Indeed.com, or did you use anything to kind of, just to scrub the, the good from the bad?
Yeah. So Indeed, and this is a service that we ought to offer at JRA. We're just so strapped on people at the moment we can't, which we're making a mistake. I'm sitting here talking about adding people and we don't have it. But actually this whole hiring thing, Indeed.com is what we use. Now, the problem with Indeed is people just shoot off resumes without reading exactly what they're applying to. The only way we found to do it, it used to be 6 years ago, you were an employer's job market. That means we could be as slow and as specific and require as much as possible to really qualify people. Now we've got to be the aggressor. We're in an employee job market. I think national employment's like 3.4% or something. It's like the lowest it was in the 60s. And most everybody that wants to work is working. So what we found you have to do is as soon as the resume comes in, you call. So you don't, I don't look at this. We've got somebody in our call center. As soon as it comes through, they don't even hardly look at the resume. They look at the phone number. They call that individual. While the phone's ringing, they're glancing at the resume. We actually give them a phone interview right on the spot.
Oh, wow.
Very spot. We don't, no matter what they're doing, we give them a phone interview. And if we get 3 references from them. And if that checks out, then they schedule a interview time with our general manager, in our case, which is Christian. And Christian would come in and actually give them the in-person interview. And we actually tell them over the phone on this initial phone call, if the interview sounds decent, if the questions they answer sound decent, if they've got the availability we need, if they've got reliable transportation, they tell us they can pass a drug test, and they tell us that their background's going to come up, clean as far as any violent crime and everything like that. Or then we actually give them a tentative job offer right then and there. And we say, you got to come in, you got to give us an in-person interview, and that's got to check out, and your references have to check out. But if those 2 things check out, you're going to be hired. So we want to get you on in here. Wow. And we get some, generally the bad ones never show up for that in-person interview.
Sure.
The phone thing's terrible. We have had some guys start that quit the very same day or the next day, or we let go within 2 days. But that's the only way we found here over the last 2 years to actually get people to show up for an interview. Because most of the time, if we're not the quickest, somebody else has beat us to them.
I gotcha.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So you can almost do a webinar just on this particular slide. So we have to breathe over this. There is information available on YouTube and Google on customer acquisition cost. At junkra.com, we did an article a while back on it. So you can also review it if you want to read something that's relevant to the junk removal industry. But so knowing your allowable customer acquisition cost, which is basically if you add up all your expenses from your typical junk removal job, what all of your expenses are, and you take your average job, you deduct your expenses, and whatever's left over is considered your allowable acquisition cost. So if, for example, in junk removal, you're going to have your direct costs, which are going to be disposal fees, are going to be labor, fuel, so on and so forth. But you're also going to you need a percentage of what your insurance is going to cost. You need it's probably going to be, depending on how much money you're making, anywhere from 3 to 5% of your income. Vehicle wear and tear or vehicle payments, that's going to be 3-4% of your income. You've got several other costs that are not direct costs that you don't necessarily see after that one job. It doesn't cost you on that one job, but you have to average it all together. And whatever's left over is going to be your allowable acquisition costs. So if you run those numbers and you have $130 remaining, that means you can spend up to $130 to get one customer and still at least break even. Now, a lot of people don't want to just get in business to break even. None of us want to get into business just to break even. But my take on this has always been, whatever your lowest acquisition cost is that provides a great customer, put as much money as possible into that. When that's maxed out, you go to your second, you go to your third, you go to a fourth, and eventually you're just doing them all. And you don't really, as long as you're not losing money on each job or losing much money. We actually do a few things in print advertising where we lose money on each job. As long as you're not losing much money on it, that customer, you're going to get that customer into your system. And then you should have a system in place to send them emails once a month. You do a really good job. You get that review. You send them a coupon in the mail every 6 months. And all of a sudden that person, not only do they post a review online, which is going to increase the likelihood somebody else hires your company, they're also going to come back probably within the next 2 years. They're going to use you again, and then they're going to tell somebody else about you. So if you look at the lifetime value of that customer, that maybe you lost a little money and maybe you broke even on that job, the lifetime value is what's really important. Now, if you don't have a lot of extra money saved up, you cannot have this number be in the negative. This is going to be how you're going to go out of business. This number needs to be, at least zero at minimum, and then, but still getting $50, $60, $70 profit after you've done your initial on advertising plus. I mean, some guys 100, 110. There's still a lot of meat on the bone to make it profitable. But this webinar is about how you scale hopefully quickly to $1 million. And that's going to be, you just do as much advertising as you can. Sure. An average job, again, is huge because, if you're at that 280 mark and you look at your allowable acquisition cost and it's only $50. And then if you're able to bump it up to, $350, you've gained an additional $70 in allowable acquisition. And you can see where that makes a huge difference. Because on Google Ads is probably going to cost you, in a lot of markets, is going to cost you more than $50 per customer. The lowest we've seen has been like 40. Some markets, like your San Francisco's, are like 125. It's like $125 to get one customer. So it's this slide right here. If you're going to pay attention to one thing, research this more, really understand these two numbers, and get that average job up. And then Workiz is a great tool for this because your reporting capabilities. I can go in there and I can see the average job for each one of my team members. And if we have one that's consistently lagging behind, Christian's trying to figure out why is that. We're looking in pictures, so on and so forth. Because, especially once you start doing 100 jobs or, $10 difference on 100 jobs, that's $1,000 difference on your bottom line. And that just grows each time you move up with more jobs.
Yeah, you can see productivity of employee, you can see productivity of a metro area. So if you're working in different areas in the city, different metro areas in your state, you will be able to see productivity, not just by the employee, also by the location. So it's a better reporting and a better reporting capabilities.
100%. It's quick too. Some of the other systems out there are kind of slow. This is very quick.
Yeah.
Right. And I know we're getting close on time here, but so getting off the truck, that was not mentioned in a slide. The quicker you can get off the truck, where you've got teams you have crews that are running your jobs, the quicker you can get out and you can join an apartment management group. I was talking to a guy the other day that just recently joined an apartment management group. He's been in business for about 8 or 9 months. He's been consistently going to these meetings, and he landed some contract with a group of apartments that's worth about $2,500 a month. So that's not a huge deal, but it's still $25,000 that you're not having to, or $30,000 or whatever, that you're not having to spend money on to get. Yep. And if he does a great job with that, then that's just going to grow. The referrals are going to grow, and he's going to, all of a sudden, he could have 8 or 10 apartment complexes he's doing work for.
Right.
This is a really good one. A lot of people don't think about, but real estate offices do mandatory training about once a quarter at minimum. Sponsor a lunch. They'll generally let you pass out your information. National Association of Professional Organizers. This is another kind of unknown one. I'm giving away some pretty good secrets here. NAPO has on their website, I can't remember what it is, like napo.org or something. They actually have a database where you can look up contact information for all the organizers in your area. I picked up the phone and I took them out for coffee, and we do work for probably 7 or 8 professional organizers of about the 35 in our area. We do work for about 7 or 8 of them. Chamber of Commerce, Rotary Club, just really get out there and just meet people. The Dream 100 is basically this will take you a little while to put together, but if you can come up with 100 businesses in your area that you think could really put the word out about your company, you figure out ways to connect with those individual companies. And that's an excellent way, a non-online way, which just takes legwork and generally not a whole lot of money to really build everything up. So the quicker, again, if you can get to the point where everything else is running without you and you can get out and actually meet these people and work on your business and work on business relationships, that's when you're going to kill it.
Yeah, there's another good resource, and Lee, I'm pretty sure you're familiar with, is BBI's, the Better Business Institute. A lot of those have chapters all across the nation, and they only have one specific genre of business in there. So if they don't have a junk removal guy in there, you could get in there, and they're required to pass referrals over to you every month. And I mean, it costs a nominal amount of money, about $100 a month or so, but they'll refer, if you being the only junk removal guy within that group, I mean, they're going to pass all those referrals to you. That's a great way to get in as well.
Is that the same thing as BNI?
BNI, I'm sorry, yeah, it's BNI, yeah.
Okay, got you. Cool, great. Yeah, BNI is a great resource also. All right. Okay, and as we kind of wrap up here, there's kind of a formula to success here. You have to do everything that we talked about. So you've got to invest in your company and all, but you have to do it over a period of time. So a lot of people, they invest everything they got in a month or two, for a month or two, and they think they should be doing $25,000 a month, $50,000 a month, $100,000 a month, or whatever. And it's not. This is not a formula you're just going to turn on and all of a sudden have instant success. It's little improvements every single month and every single year. You could double. A lot of times junk removal businesses double from what they did in year 1 to what they did in year 2. But it's going to take time. If you get impatient and you give up on doing it, you're not going to make it. So always remember the time thing is what's really critical in this, because again, these customers are going to come back and use you again. They're going to refer you. They're going to post online reviews.
Nice.
Yeah, and I guess my challenge would be, and this is hard to find if you guys are on the truck working 12, 14 hours a day, is try and find an hour every day to work on each of these things we talked about here. And once you get off the truck, you can spend 90% of your day working on it.
Yeah. Perfect.
And I'll let you guys cover this one here.
Sure. I mean, the one thing that you want to do, especially with starting, a new business like this, is to get everything automated. I mean, you're going to be spending a lot of time, especially if you are working, those 12, 14 hours a day. The last thing that you want to be doing is, what we were talking about earlier, is writing notes and, in your truck and then trying to keep organized. It's impossible to do so. Things are going to fall between the cracks. So, having a system like Workiz is really going to give you the solid foundation, along with Junk Removal Authority, to set you up for success, so that, those things don't get missed out. You can send automatic text messages. You can keep track of what metro areas are performing well. If your guys in the field that are doing great as well, and being able to track them, it's just going to make things a whole heck of a lot easier, so that you can focus on making more money and not focus on things like the day-to-days that you could really just put on rails by using both of these systems.
Yeah. One of the advantages that we have is by integrating with JRA is we're learning more and more about the junk removal business. So we're developing a lot, and we're adjusting a lot of features that will dedicate for your type of business. So if we're looking at from the moment that you're scheduling the job to dispatch it to your team members, online booking, documents, invoicing, everything is being done through Workiz. So the integration between JRA to Workiz, it's basically perfect for the junk removal industry. This is something that will save you a lot of time by starting your business or by growing your business faster as possible.
And I guess the only other thing I want to add is the really neat thing about working with Workiz or us at JRA is We haven't developed the perfect product yet. We probably never will, but we're going to strive for it and go after it. And just the time we've been with Workiz, we're always seeing them want to grow and improve the product. Some of the platforms we've used in the past stayed stagnant for a long time, and that always irritated me because I've always been about it just consistently improving and trying to offer better service and more product. Been very happy with Workiz the time, the several months we've been using them, 6 months or whatever.
Good.
Definitely.
Good.
And I've covered most of this. If you guys are interested in JRA services, you can check us out at junkra.com. Phone number's listed on there. Our YouTube channel has a lot of great information. And I just mentioned constantly being improving. So you're going to see even better stuff coming out, even higher quality stuff, more informative, actionable items. Those types of videos will be hitting that channel soon. And Google Ads Management, call center, search engine optimization, website development, Facebook ads, or just general consulting to help grow your business. Services we offer. Love to help each and every junk removal business out there. Just give us a call if you're interested.
Definitely.
Good.
The same thing here is Workiz. If you guys have any questions about the software, about the integration together with JRA, feel free to go to workiz.com. We have an online chat. We have a lot of information there for your business. So feel free to contact us. We will be happy to answer any questions. And of course, sync you guys with JRA or show you what we can offer in regards to Workiz software.
Awesome, guys. Declan and Richard, really appreciate everything, guys. I appreciate everybody watching. Hope it was informative, and just let us know if we can help.
Sure.